Okay, everyone, and welcome to today's little micro teach or webinar. The topic today is how to unlock your productive flow state. And in the title, we're going to be going over how to biohack your stress and anxiety to stay in the flow state longer. But firstly, before we get into it, let me do a quick intro. So this is the best picture of me I have, which is why it's everywhere. And my family are originally from Iran, and we moved to Sweden where I was born. And I am originally a pharmacist, so I studied pharmacy and I worked in a flagship store for Boots Walgreens, in which we were managing a large team and dealing with care homes. This was quite a complicated job. There was quite a lot of struggles in managing with big teams and different personalities, especially trying to meet the demands of lots of multiple care homes. But during my time working, I felt something wasn't right. I wasn't content with how my work was going or something. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. So after some years, the opportunity came up for me to study dentistry, and this is actually what I wanted to do originally. So I took the chance and I went and studied dentistry and then became a dentist. And then during my work, I really enjoyed it, to be honest. And I still am working, in which time I learned about biomimetic dentistry, which is something that is really passionate about working, and that's really to get to the core of the issue. However, something I felt was still missing, and I couldn't put my finger on it still. So I thought maybe if I, run and own a dental practice, maybe that will fix it. So, and the money was good. I was working well. And then at some point, it all became a bit too much. And for some reason, I stumbled into burnout, which I wasn't aware it was a thing. I thought mental health was a not even a real thing. So then I got a diagnosis of ADHD. And then, I felt like this label was put on me. And for some reason, nobody could help or nobody knew what to do about it. Everyone was trying to give me tablets and pills, but I didn't really believe it or want to go down that route. So I decided to do a diploma in mental health and well-being, which is this is the psych, psychology board in England. I think in Europe actually. Yeah, so it was a verified diploma, and that gave me a lot of insight to what was going on and what led me to find other passions in life. But this biomimetic dentistry really changed my thinking of how to get to the root cause of issues. And that's what I'm really passionate about, fixing the root cause of everything. So that's a little bit about me. Now let's get into what today's going to be about. So today's agenda. Obviously, we have to do some boring definitions before we start. So we're going to go into what is stress and anxiety and what is the flow state. And then, obviously, while we're all here, how to stay in the flow state and how to control stress and anxiety. Hopefully, by the end of today, you're going to be like this dog and you're going to be biohacking yourselves away. That's the goal. So yeah, so we'll see. So firstly, the boring stage, which is definition. Stress is your body's natural reaction to a situation or an object. This thing is called the stressor. So a stressor can be your girlfriend, your wife, or in my case, fiance. It can be work, it can be a staircase, it can be anything. A stressor exerts pressure on your body, and on some level, you have to overcome this stressor. But at some point, it might become too much, and then you call it stress. So I love diagrams. So to explain it to you in a diagram, this is a stressor and this is a guy. So the stressor is exerting pressure on the guy. So we can represent this like this. So at some point, this pressure has to cross the threshold. And this threshold varies from person to person. And how much of this pressure gets turned into stress will depend on numerous factors and the factors of what we're going to go into today. However, some people have a stronger threshold or a different type of threshold or know how to cope differently. So less of it gets turned to stress. That's a nutshell example. I'm going to show it to you now in a different way with a graph. Yay. So on the left, we can see we have pressure, and on the bottom, we have skill. So what we're going to do is talk about the relationship between pressure and skill. obviously, because that's the title of the slide. So if we say we are here, if you see where my mouse is, the amount of skill to complete this job or task is going to at some point become too much. Why is it not doing it? Okay, there we go. So this area of the curve or line even, we can say is stress. If a task becomes for this, if your skill set is too, let's say your skill set is really high and the task is quite easy, then you're going to be in this blue zone and the task is going to be uninterested. So it's all about a balance. Now, those of you that have been on the planet for more than 5 minutes know that nothing is a straight line. And it would be a lie to say that everything was straight. Everything has ups and downs. So actually, we should represent this line with with peaks and troughs from this curve. So the graph will look something like this. In some of these areas, we're going into this area, and other times we're going in and out, in and out, in and out. So it really is a case of balance. However, we can also describe it like this. So at some point, we are dipping in and out of the pressure area and into the unmotivated. And if it gets too much, you become uninterested and you just give up, right? And same with the stress or pressure. Someone has their microphone on. Could you please turn it off? I'm not sure who it is, but let me check. No, actually, it's okay. Yeah, so thank you. So you can go up and down like this, and these are like this is not exact. This is just a diagram just so you can get the concept. And then we're going to talk about, so someone who's too much in the red zone. How do you know if you're too much in the red zone? Someone who is too much in the red zone will look like a deer in headlights. So when you see them at work, they'll be kind of jumping a bit and working too hard and not really able to socialize while working or speak. They'll be very focused on the task. And sometimes it can be detrimental to the outcome because it's also common to, for example, if you have a project, this person will get to stage 4 and 5 when actually at stage 1 or 2, there should be some reconsideration as to direction. So a lot of time wasted would be from this person who's acting too far in the stress area.
Kao što sam pretpostavljala, dvokrevetne, trokrevetne sobe nisu da spava personal, to nema nigdje na svijetu da spava personal u tim sobama, nego su to sobe koje su tako opremljene, što imaju intenzivnu njegu.
Sorry about that. 1 second. Let's get this thing out here. Yeah, so someone could also have a bad perception of time. So time could run away from them, or you get to the end of the day and you're thinking, where the hell did all the time go? Okay, should I just get rid of this? Yeah. You can get the feeling of where's all the time gone? And your weeks will end, months will end, and all of a sudden a month is gone, and then the next year is here. This is a similar sort of thing. And that is because you are working, your brain is working so fast, you don't have time to consolidate the memories. You also find a mismatch between yourself and others. This can be in your relationship. This can be you're feeling emotionally detached, or you really struggle connecting with people that aren't exactly in the same job as you, because obviously you would only talk about your work struggle. So there's also a connectivity thing going on here. So these things that cause you to go up and down, which judge the flexibility of your system, are what I call the micro variables. So these micro variables are small things that you're doing every day or something that you've done from your culture or something which affect your up and downs. So now we're going to get a bit interesting. So now I'm going to replace this area with a cylinder and all will become clear in a second. So this cylinder is actually the flow state, if you didn't guess so far. So we want to remain in this area. And that is what the flow state basically is. So it's not too stressed, but it's not too bored. And it's a case of knowing. It's a case of knowing. Come on. Yeah. It's a case of knowing when you're about to go too high or when you're in this area. It's bringing awareness of where you're in this area. So in this area, you can say you're hyper focused, anxious, or stressed. And I know these two we were going to talk about as from today's agenda. That's on the next slide. There can be an emotional mismatch and all of these things like we've stated. And when you cross the threshold on the bottom, there is also there is also, the low energy state. And there's also signs that you're going into this place as well. And eventually, depending on how low you go, we'll be calling it burnout. So what is this anxiety and stress? So from what I've said, is we are both in a state of high energy. And as far as we know, we are the only mammal that actually communicates our emotion. So stress, what does that mean? So stress or anxiety to you does not mean the same. So anxiety to you does not mean anxiety to someone else. Being stressed out at work or feeling stressed is not the same for you as it would be to another person. It varies because it's a description of something happening inside. And we're not very good at describing this to one another, basically. But it's just really conceptualized that all these things are states of high energy in the body. So now we're going to quickly dive into what microvariables affect the flow state. This is the sexy diagram again, my cylinder. And now we are going to just dive in and change this into a black cylinder. Now, for me to show you what microvariables are part of this area inside the flow state, I'm going to separate this flow state into little segments. And obviously, we know we are not in the 1950s anymore. So I'm going to put a little bit of color in it. And there you have a nice looking pie chart. So these are the systems within your body that control whether you're in the flow state or not. The digestive system, heart and lung system, nervous system, the status of your mind, the hormone system, and the muscle system. There is more systems, and there are probably more that affect you. But these are the ones that I have found out the most about. And here, one second. So all of these systems can have either an activated phase or a deactivated phase. This is how your body works. This is the fight or flight system. So some will be in go mode and some will be in stop mode. So it's like rest and digest or fight and flight. So your heart might be in a different mode to your brain or your digestive system. So we can actually make our pie chart look something like this. So some systems are in go mode and some systems are in break mode. So now I'm going to show you this in one other way, just so you really get the concept. This is the flow chart. So these are the separate systems that were in the pie chart. I've done them on the bottom. And as you can see, some of them are like there's a sharp border between activated and not activated. So digestive system in this example is basically not active overall. The heart system is kind of like, I don't know, am I going to go full steam or I'm going to relax? I don't know. Immune system is completely off. Muscle system, okay. So all of these systems are giving information. They're giving a signal up. And if I press the right button, and this is an upside down funnel, by the way, in case you're wondering. And all these systems are going to give an overall flavor via this made up funnel into your mind. And this will give you an overall flavor of what's going on inside. And you will call this an emotion. Okay. So, and obviously your mind is not designed to get too much information, hence the filter. Because imagine your mind worked like this. Imagine you were like, oh, my heart is beating a bit faster now. And also at the same time, you were getting a message from your right kidney that was going, oh, you drank a lot of water earlier. Maybe you should stop drinking. We could keep going to the bathroom. And then your breathing system is like, should we stop? Should we breathe a bit faster? It's too much information. So you get an overall flavor, like a sample of everything, and it presents in your mind, and that's how you feel. And that's it. So how do you control yourself to be in the flow state? Firstly, okay, for example, these diagrams are schematic, so it's not like they're accurate numbers or anything. If we take someone, this is someone who's untrained. The first stage of realizing is, or if you want to improve yourself in any way or behavior or stop feeling a certain way, the first thing to realize is what are the first signs or what are you doing when you step out? So when do you notice that you stepped out, or what was the message that was sent? And conversely, what did you do in the 2 minutes or 5 minutes before you lost focus? what was the thing that made it go? So, and then in stage two, you become more flexible. Then your boundaries, when you realize you do the thing and then you get back to your flow state, you will realize where the boundaries lie, and you'll become more confident and more flexible with it because they can catch yourself in the act. So remaining in the flow state is a fine balance, and that is basically what it's about. So I'm going to show you this in another way, just to show you so you fully with me. Here we have an untrained person and a trained person. In this example, I'm going to use a car salesman because we all know they're sneaky. Everyone learns their sneaky way of doing it. So a car salesman will often match your energy because they have had training. So what they will do is they will raise their energy and then to your energy. If your energy is higher or lower, they will match it, and they will often, and you will end up going along with what they're saying because they seem so excited or happy about it. This is a very important thing in sales. Sales of anything is matching the energy of the person you're trying to sell to. And then obviously someone who is trained, you would also return to the middle a lot easier. And if you can see, this peaks and troughs of the flow state are much shallower in itself because now you understand what you're doing, which is causing the peaks and troughs. So not only do you realize the upper and lower boundaries, you also realize what you're doing, which is making, so it's a double win. So these are the people we call leaders, or what I call, this is my definition of leadership. Everyone has their own definition because it's a very cliche word nowadays, I guess. But yeah, so someone who's a leader has good flexibility, is able to communicate with a wide range of people, and is able to return to their normal physiological baseline and, you know, and adapt to any situation. So now in relation to the stressful event, before, during, or after, this is what you can do to make it less stressful or make yourself stay in the flow state sorry. Before, engaging in 10 minutes at the start of every day. If you engage in rhythmic breathing, that means breathing with a metronome or something, like 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, will completely change your outlook on the day. Some people have figured this out and they understand that at the start of every day they have to do something. Your mind wakes up fine at the start of the day. It's the systems within your body that make you feel like it's needed. So some people will not eat until after working. Some people will go sauna at the start of the day. There's many different things that people will do to stabilize themselves, to get them into that middle zone. So breathing rhythmically, 10 minutes start of every day. During, this one it's a bit useless to be honest, because during a stressful event, you can't just disconnect from it. Imagine you're in a meeting and you're getting stressed, the signals are going, you can't just step out for 15, 20 minutes. You're going to seem incompetent. So you have to prepare before, which is obviously the best thing to do. And after, so we know that it's a high energy state. We are we are being put under pressure and we're performing. So obviously, if you have energy floating around your system, it's only logical that you engage in exercise. So this means something from a 45-minute walk. It could be going to the gym, swimming, anything. The point is there's energy floating around your system and you got to get rid of it somehow. Going home and eating is not really it's not the amazing thing to do. But this is a cumulative thing, and it will help you overall with the balance. So what do we do for a lift? What do we do when we need to get that extra energy in the morning? When we want to like get to work, maybe we're not feeling great. What do? We use drugs. So stimulant drugs are the ones that lift you up. They give your system energy, make your heart increase, make your heart rate increase, your breathing increase. They come in different forms. We have nicotine comes in cigarettes, you smoke it. Caffeine comes in a liquid, you can drink it. And cocaine is a powder, and people put it in their nose on the weekends. I know if you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, of course, they also do it for work, which is unbelievable. But anyway, um, So the point is, yeah, these are all used to increase your energy and your performance at work. However, you become frantically wired at the end of the day, and coming down is always the difficulty. And sometimes when you come down just as high as you went up. So I just also want to say that these peaks and troughs represent time, right? But not minutes. For some people, it could be hours, it could be days. You could feel like you had a stressful week or a stressful month. You know, the period of time is really, it really applies to any period of time. And, you know, just a closing summary before we go into questions. We said we had the high energy state and the low energy state, my beautiful cylinder. And I just want to bring you just to make sure you're with me 100%. So this person we're saying has a very narrow flow state, which is most people actually. And it's you're never really in it because you're in and out all the time. So as we said, there's hints of when it's low and what you need to do to bring yourself back up. But there's also hints along here, here, and here. These are all some things that you can feel. It's important to remain there because obviously when you come crashing down, you become uninterested. Eventually you become unmotivated, and this could be in life. And then in the end, if you've gone too high, it leads to a midlife crisis or depression, and you're off sick from work. So this is overall what's happening. So hopefully you guys have kind of understand what needs to be done and what the issue is. And hopefully you can be as happy as this dog and start biohacking straight away. I want to invite you all to book yourself for a little 15-minute biohack yourself session, completely free, no obligations at all. We can have a quick 15-minute chat and I can explain to you what's the best ways for you to improve your flow state and focus. Does anyone have any questions? There might be some in the box. Give me 2 seconds.